right. Couple things we need to do. We just got done investigating the Crucible Knights. We need to go find that cipher who gave, what's his name? His A-OK to become them, to join them. But first, I think we really need to rest. Which, we know there's a place in Copper Lane, so let's go there. Also, looks like we have a level and Eder needs to talk. You know what? Alright, Eder, let's just talk to you right now.
Strange place for a shrine to Abaddon, Crucible Keep. Maybe it made more sense at some point before it gathered all that dust. The only thing the Knights of the Crucible worship these days is the nobility, as far as I understand it.
Saying they've lost their ways. I knew some soldiers who got recruited by the Knights after the war was over. They told me some about it. They get these young kids in there and they tell them about blacksmithing and about the revolution and all, and about tradition. Talk about the golem like he created the Crucible Knights in his forge to go win Darewood's independence. Then they join, and it turns out all any of those knights ever talks about is when are we gonna get recognized as a real knighthood? When are we getting our titles in our land? Their High Justice wants to be an earl. Says it's Abaddon's will. He's got a castle and an army. You wonder how long he'll wait before he starts a war over it, saying Abaddon told him to. I could see that, for sure. Well, it seems like some members do take their ideals seriously. I don't know. I haven't really talked to them enough to really say that for sure. For all we know, maybe Abaddon is telling him to. That's true. I forget what Abaddon is the god of, but they don't seem all bad. They're keeping peace in Defiance Bay. That is also true. And the nobles will respond that their gods told them that they're the only true nobles. Yeah, they absolutely will. Trouble with having all these gods is you've got support no matter how dumb your ideas are. Maybe we had the right idea of blowing some of them up. Less of them to hide behind. No, I think generally blowing up the gods is more likely to backfire than not.
Well?
Depending on how much they actually govern the natural world, that is. I mean, if their hands off, for the most part, then maybe it's not a big deal. Alright, here we go. Nice night's rest. Or, well, afternoon's rest. It's probably nighttime now. Yeah. It's just Gwyneth who needs to level up. Let's go ahead and take care of that right now. Gwyneth. Let's go with more mechanics and more stealth. All right, we get a third. Wait, these are our powers. Because I just already gotten most of my first level powers. Let's see, what third levels are there again? It sounds like a pretty good single target debuff, but let's keep looking. Now this one has a really nice area of effect. Range 10 meters isn't bad either. Average speed, but frightened for 21 seconds and sickened for 21 seconds. I feel like that's especially nice. All attributes reduced by 1. Fortitude and will reduced by 10. And then resolve and dexterity reduced by 2. And accuracy reduced by 10. Forces an enemy soul to leak energy, igniting the air around them and burning them over time. Only single target, but it's significant single target damage. 139 burn damage over 14 seconds. So, less good. Well, that's 10-ish or so burn damage. Almost exactly 10 burn damage per second. Presumably it ticks per second. It's a lot of damage, though. This one sounds decent at first. 30% of all damage reapplied over 16 seconds, but... I mean, for it to be truly that good, I feel like you would need to do a lot of damage and then basically stop attacking them so that this can finish them off. Yeah, maybe a decent finisher, but it feels like it would be really tricky to use effectively. 7.4 meter radius, jeez. I like phantom foes a lot. Flanked for 28 seconds, plus frightened for another 8. Which is pretty good too. I like phantom foes. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. I mean, this one would be pretty decent too. Frightens and sickens for longer, but this one has... I like the idea of flanking them all. Oh, nice. Let's see, what do we have? Biting Whip. Increases melee damage and ranged damage, so in other words, you will gain your focus more quickly. And then just Psychic Backlash. Okay. It's passive and once per encounter. Though quite a few things target will. Is it automatic? And does it negate whatever it was they were trying to do? Because that would be really extra nice. That might make it worth it if it negates any will attack once, in addition to stunning them. Some of these would be good for her to get if she runs out of class abilities and maybe defensive and utility abilities to do. Having a modal like that might actually be nice for her, though. Maybe not that one specifically, but I don't imagine that would overwrite your Soul Whip or anything. Something like Graceful Retreat and Superior Deflection would also be useful. If I'm gonna keep her with her bow, Shot on the Run might also be nice. Ooh, Quick Switch. I'm not sure how much that minus 1.5 actually translates to, but... Though, for now, I think it's probably still best to go with my, class abilities first. So we'll go for Biting Whip. There we go.
Well?
Alright, let's head off to... I guess, is it Copper Lane or Brackenberry? Whichever one is into this one. Oh? Yeah? What can I do you for, Gordy? A young boy watches the passerby and counts a grimy handful of coins. His face and arms are smudged with dirt, but except for the grass stains, his clothes are in good condition. As you approach, he blinks and makes a quick, furtive effort to pocket his coins. Like, you're the one who drawed my attention here. Hey, miss, want to know a secret? He wipes his nose with a sleeve. I know a real good secret. Do you now? Looks like we got a little hustler here. Someone raised this kid, right? Oh, editor approves. Right. I'm sure a squeaky-voiced kid knows amazing things about the city. Should we be mean? No, let's be nice. Really, what is it? He shrugs and clasps his hands behind his back, kicking a loose pebble. I just saw folks hiding some really neat things. I could show you where, but Mom and Dad told me not to talk to strangers, he says, attracting strangers over. His eyes slowly roll up at you. But maybe you could help me with something. Then we wouldn't be strangers. Really, depends on what you want my help with. Gordy's voice suddenly rises in pitch and tempo. The Crucible Knights have these daggers made out of March steel. It's the best steel around, except for Durgan steel, which doesn't count, maybe because no one makes it anymore. I see. You want me to go steal some, don't you? He stops long enough to catch his breath. Anyway, there's this merchant over by the expedition hall, and he has a dagger made of real March steel. His eyes grow large and round. He said that he wouldn't sell it to me because I'm a kid, and kids don't know anything about daggers. But that's not true. I know lots about daggers. I know about the different kinds of steel. I know how the Crucible Knights make them in the forge. I know how that the tip can pierce low-gauge scale armor. And that one that's good and sharp can cut through bone. This kid is really into knives. See, I know plenty about daggers, and I really, really want this one. And if you could just get it for me, I promise I'll never, ever ask anyone for anything ever again. What would your parents have to say if I bought you this dagger? March steel. The lad has good taste. I only ever had little shark stickers as a child, mostly for oysters. Still managed to poke a hole through my palm once. Jeez, really is sharp. Sounds reasonable. I'll get it for you. Too young to play with knives. I'm sure your parents told you that, but you wouldn't be asking me. Almost certainly. You can't have a dagger. You'll poke your eye out. Oh, man. Makes me want to go watch The Christmas Story. Resolve. Let me lie to the kid. Tell you what. You tell me your secret now, and I'll get you a dagger from the Knights of the Crucible themselves. I don't want to lie to the kid. And grab Gordy by the short shirt and hold him above your head. Jeez. How about you tell me the secret right now before I get angry? I'm not going to threaten the kid either. I really don't want to lie to him either, though. Can't have a dagger, you'll poke your eye out. I think is what I'll say. Maybe he'll convince me. Well, you're too young, and I'm sure your parents told you the same thing. But if I'm going to be a real warrior, I have to start training young, just like the heroes in the stories. I just know I was a great warrior in a previous life. My mom even thinks I have an old soul. All right, if I do this, and that's an if, I'm gonna need you to sign a waiver that absolves me of any responsibility for trouble you get in with this knife. And also, you will never ever mention my name to your parents. Ever. All right? Gordy jumps up and down, whooping and hollering. I knew a real adventurer would understand. He points to a large building. There's a big merchant over by Amdeth's Den who sells weapons. He's the one with the dagger. I'll wait right here for you. His gap-toothed grin stretches from ear to ear. God, I'm gonna get this kid killed, aren't I? I'm gonna regret this, I just know it. Let's see, which one of you? Was it Igrun? She did, the kid say. Yeah, near the expedition hall. I think this is one that sells weaponry.
Hello.
Anything in particular you'd like to see? I'm looking for a particular dagger made of March steel. Just like the Crucible Knights use. Let me guess. You've been talking to that kid, right? He laughs and shakes his head. No. I'd be tempted to sell it to you anyways and let the little rascal learn his lesson, but a pack of adventurers already took it off my hands. Oh, shoot. Hey, that's a good point. If March steel daggers are only given to Crucible Knights, how did you get your hands on one? Igran pauses mid-polish, his cloth slowing over the blade. A lot of steel passes through my hands, friend. I don't make it my business to ask where it all comes from. Your offense, I get it. No worries. Fair enough, I don't mean to pry. I'm not trying to get you into trouble, but you should be careful about what you trade, whom you trade it with. Trafficking in stolen goods is risky. It is. He grunts. Appreciate the concern, but there's no need to worry. I keep my nose clean enough. Fair enough, fair enough. So those adventurers who you sold the dagger to, where are they now? Folks like that only visit Copperlane to crew up at Amdeth's Den Expedition Hall, or down a pint at Goose and Fox. And since they weren't headed into the den, well, you've got my best guess. Oh, fair enough, thank you very much. Anything about the dagger? He oils the cloth in his hand, made out of high purity iron ore that comes out of the White March Mountains. Traditionally, the smiths at the Crucible Keep have smelted it into daggers and swords, which they only give to the Knights of the Crucible. Of course, I'd be surprised if that kid didn't already tell you all of this. He grunts. I see he likes to talk to you about weapons. He is excited. He's a weapon fanboy. Alright. Wait, it's not the ones who were upstairs, is it? I vaguely remember a group that we could talk to up there. And they were adventurers, so... yeah. Two-tone Wexel.
Greetings.
Back again, I see. Hey, did you buy a March steel dagger from Igrin? He displays the blade on a flat palm. I did, and a fine piece it is. I don't know of any more circulating in the city, outside the steel in the Crucible Keep, of course. I was trying to get it for a kid named Gordy. He blinks and kicks his feet off the table. A kid? This isn't a toy, you know. Get him a wooden sword. Yeah, seriously. Oh, hey, it's Key. The Orlon woman leans over and punches his arm. Come on, Wexel. If our friend here is willing to pay, what's the harm? Plenty, actually. That kid'll probably poke his eye out. Besides, I plan to use this dagger. Sooner than expected, I'll bet. Geez, no. I like these guys. How much would it take for you to change your mind? He turns the blade in the light, admiring it. Seeing as how there's a sudden demand for this, 100 pence seems fair. Is that... how much is that? Is that copper? Demand isn't as high as you think. Chances are good that dagger was stolen or looted off one of the knights. In that case, I'm probably doing you a favor. That's true. You mean Igrin sold you the March steel for less? I wonder why he wanted to get rid of it so badly. Either the blade was stolen from the knights, or it's a fake. I like that one a little better. He looks from the dagger to you and back again. Oh, fine. But I won't take less than I paid for it. He pounds the table with a fist. I knew 50 pence sounded too good to be true. Actually, I'll take it for free. No, yeah, that's a deal. Okay, it is just 50 copper. Fair enough. That's not as bad as I thought. Pleasure doing business with you. Thank you for doing it hilt first. Anything else you wanted? No, that's good. Oh, we got a few more levels. Let's get this back to the kid, though, first. Now, kid. Actually, I want to check out this dagger first, if I can. I mean, it's fine. As far as daggers go, it seems like it's actually pretty decent. Alright, kid. Gordy bounces on the pavement. Did you get it? Do you have the dagger? Can I see it? Alright, but... I'm going to need you to promise me you'll be careful. Please. I don't want you to get hurt. This is sharp. It's extremely dangerous. Don't use it on anybody. Don't use it on any animals. And whatever you do, don't poke your eye out. Do not run with it out of its sheath. All right, here you go. Gordy stops bouncing and stares at it, gaping in awe. It's so sharp. Toss him the dagger. Yeah, don't kill yourself or anything. Jeez, no, don't toss him the dagger. That's not doing what he needs. I bet Survival 4 gives him a few pointers or something. A deal's a deal. Here you go. He snatches it out of the air, heedless of anything else, yanks it out of its sheath and holds the blade up to the light. I'm going to be just like the Crucible Knights. He saws and chops at the air. He flips the weapon into the air and grabs at the hilt, almost slicing his palm open in the process. Jeez, kid! Don't. I'm going to take that back away from you if you don't stop that. His eyes dart away from yours as he sheathes the dagger. So, about the secret. Gordy puts his hand up to his mouth and whispers loudly. I saw one of the actors hide something under a loose stone near the theater. It's probably nothing as good as a Marchsteel dagger, though. Thank you for telling me, Gordy. Bye! Oh, and an additional person to level now. Let's see where this loose stone is. Really should have told me what stone, but... Is it up here?
I see something.
Oh, there it is. Let's see. Oaken Scarab figurine. 3 times wood beetles. This wooden beetle had lifelike detail carefully burned into the carved shell. Tiny barbs are etched onto its legs, and its folded wings bear mazy patterns. Waxen, okay, it's just a liquor. And a few amethysts. I'm not sure that I got more out of that than I paid, but maybe it's close. All right, let's do our levels. All right there, Aloth. I guess some more lore for you. More stealth, perhaps. Yeah, I'd like to get the party as stealthy as possible, really. I like slow. Slow is always a good spell. I really should go into his all those grimoires I've obtained and learn the spells as well, like that. I like exposed vulnerabilities too. It's a really good one. Displaced image is also really good. It's basically blur. I do think I'm going to go with expose. But slow is also really nice. We'll go with arduous delay of motion. If he suddenly is targeted, that's certainly nice. That one's also nice for backing them up. Granted, it's accuracy versus deflection with no bonus. Though, really though, an extra spell slot, spell use, I mean, come on, that's obvious. An obvious choice. Alright, Durance. Let's get you more stealthy as well. There we go. And let's see, interdiction. Condemns the priest's foes, dazing any enemy in the area of effect. Once per encounter, 6.5 meter radius. Foe AoE, dazed for 8.8 seconds. Accuracy plus 15 versus will. I like that. Dazed is paralyzed, right? No, not paralyzed. Accuracy reduced by 10, dexterity, perception, intellect all reduced by 2, and attack speed reduced by 15%. Still really good. Inspired Flame. The faithful of Mogren gain an accuracy bonus with sword and arquebus. They can cast a special version of Burst of Flame, Summer Flame. So he's super effective with those, but well, he doesn't ever use those weapons currently. Maybe not. Aggrandizing Radiance. Everyone receives less healing from the priest's holy radiance, but the priest gains a bonus to all attributes and movement. Minus 75% healing received. No. That is absolutely not worth it. Not in my mind, at least. Maybe if you were trying to make the priest a walking army or something, but no. Oh, we get bonus spells for him too, though. Oof. Interdiction or an extra spell slot. I think I'll take interdiction for the moment. Two per encounter is worth more than a single spell slot, I think. All right. Adir, let's get you some more stealth. There you go. You are no longer going to be the weak link. All right. Let's see. Bonus knockdown. +1 use. Currently, it's 2 per encounter. Or Wary Defender. Increases the fighter's awareness while in defender mode, granting a bonus to fortitude, reflex, and will. Yeah, that's not terrible. What about the defensive ones, though? Something like superior deflection. Weapon and shield style. I feel like he really should take that. Yeah, I'm going to go with the weapon and shield style. That just extra bit of... he is our tank, after all. A little extra bit of deflection. Alrighty. Oh, and almost didn't see you there, Sagani. What can I get you? More survival? Oh, she has a lot of points. I'm not sure if that's because I didn't use them before or something else. For the 6 strength previously earned bonuses become more powerful. So currently... level 4. Let's see if it... what it says here. Does it tell us how powerful they get? Not really seeing it. It can also help solve wilderness challenges too. Let's go ahead and put some more points in. I imagine getting her to extra bonus against flanked enemies is especially good. But we'll see what the actual bonuses are. All right, your new talent. accurate wounding shot. Not terrible. Forget what I got you last time. It had something to do with your companion, though. Swift aim seems pretty good if your accuracy is already decently high. It is nice to have your companion not too vulnerable. Ooh. Make them do sneak attack. Really, I think it's either going to be swift and steady or merciless. Let's go with merciless companion. All right. And for the fun of it, let us see what the actual bonus here is. Or can I? I'll have to rest probably first. All right, and to Brackenbury, like I said. All right, here we are. Nice torch there, Justicar. Is that a... Oh, that's my cat. The Charred Barrel. Oh, that's another inn. Raymont Manor. I think I need to steal something from them. House Dwemanel. First Fires. Andra's Gift, and Hadrid House. All right, what all did I need to do here? It's Heritage Hill, and that's not the one. Those are character quests. All right, the 2-story job. I need to tell... Oh, no, I don't need to steal from Lord Raymont. I saved Lord Raymont from being stolen from. So we should probably let him know about that. And where was Karen? Was he here? Okay, he's in Hadrid House. So 2 tasks here. Oh, and then the Brackenbury Sanitarium. I'm at Heligathane. Need me to retrieve his grimoire, settle an old debt. He's confident that it's been locked away by Mordred and Anmancer at Brackenbury Sanitarium and Helig's old rival. Yes. Well, shall we just make our way down this this path here? Let's hit up places one by one. Is that Audra? It's kind of cool. Of course, let's start with the inn. A much nicer inn at that. Heartless bitch. What? Thristwin, The young elf is dressed in gaudy robes, and he seems ready to cast off. He picks at a heavily brocaded sleeve and continually adjusts the gold chain around his neck. He looks up at you. Did she send you to run me out of town? You can tell her I'm not going anywhere without that medallion. I don't know who you're talking about. I told Cyril that I wouldn't let her sell it. If that's what you're here about, then save yourself the trouble. He puffs up his chest but glances at the exit. Trying to put on a brave face. Yeah, but I have no idea what you're talking about. Lucky for you, today's my day off. I'm just here for a drink. I mean, no. If I were you, or if I were after you, you'd already be an oozing pulp under the table. No. Just tell me what the problem is. No. What are you talking about? He relaxes. If you have to ask, then you're obviously not here to shake me down. Yes. Cyril's a courtesan over at the Salty Mast in Andra's Gift. We've been working together for over a year now. I find a noble with more money than sense, fill him up with liquor, and send him her way. They have a good time, and Cyril takes her fee, and a little extra. I see. And what's the falling out that's happened? He rubs his fingers together. 100 coppers here, a trinket there. It's a bounty for us. And these lords and ladies never notice anything missing. Right, it's probably pocket change for them. So, go on. Anyway, we always split the bounty. Till a week ago. He squeezes his lip into a tight frown. She takes a necklace off of some noble. It's an Engwithan medallion. Damn near priceless. Is that the one you were just saying you wouldn't let her sell? That relic is sacred to my clan, but she won't part with it for any sum I could afford. Oh. Sacred to you. He tugs at the gold chain around his neck. And even if I wanted to, I can't go home without it. Wait. So the medallion she stole, you can't go home without? Sagani's brow furrows in pity. That's a hard thing. Yeah. Tell me more about your situation. He picks at the hem of his sleeve. What do you want to know? Well, first, what makes this medallion so important? I grew up in Erglanfath with the Shattering Spear clan. We Glanfathans have protected Engwithan ruins for thousands of years. Yeah, I got attacked by a few of you. It's the one duty the gods ask of us in exchange for the freedom we to live as we please. He fidgets with an emerald ring on his pinky. The treasure hunters looted the ruins in our territory. We left the wilds we dwelled in for generations. Most of my clan mates scattered to towns around the Deerwood, probably live on crusts of bread. He looks at his embroidered robes with disgust. Restoring this medallion to the ruins would earn us the gods' forgiveness. The Shattering Spear could go home. Oh, okay, so this medallion is actually a stolen artifact that was originally your guys's. And getting it back, you feel would allow you to reclaim your home. Oh, fair enough. I can sympathize with that. This is all rather fascinating. A single medallion to earn the gods' favor and so return home. It rather reminds me of, a story I heard somewhere. Kinda. Did you do something? Is this something similar for you? Is this why you're after? So you want to go down at those ruins so badly? It's alright. Tell me about Cyril. She's a courtesan at the Salty Mast, over in Anders Gift. She wasn't born to much, but she's done what she has to in order to escape that. He gazes at a string of amber beads around his wrist. She's a good friend. Or at least was. He holds his arms in his trailing, wrinkled sleeves. Without her, I'd probably be living hand to mouth like the rest of the Shattering Spear. But this isn't about her or me. It's about the 40 people in my clan and the way of life we've held to for generations. I still don't understand why you can't take your money and return to Erglanfath. He sighs, arching his neatly plucked eyebrows. Of course I could, but I'm not talking about logic and practicality. A community isn't a place. It's a connection to history and meaning. Oh, fair enough. He makes circles with his wrist. Like an anchor. Defending the ruins for the gods gave us a purpose. Without that, we're adrift. Does that make any sense to you? I suppose so. He smiles and nods slowly. Then you know what it's like. How to care for something you can't explain. Alright. You do seem like you've done well enough for yourself, though. He clenches his heavily adorned hands. It was this or scrape by in the gutters with like the rest of my clan. But I'd give it all up, all for that medallion. I offered to, but it's worth more than anything I've got. Cyril knows it. Damn. Well. So, will you help me get the medallion? Yeah, this seems the right thing to do to restore that medallion to its rightful owners. I'll see about getting it. You'll find her at the Salty Mast. The only way anyone sees her these days is by paying, so you have to go through Maya. He fidgets with his sleeve. But whatever you do, please don't hurt her. Don't worry, I won't. Mountain. Begging your pardon. Oh, it's you. Do I know you? It's good to see you well. We had a rough few days here, but then we found this place, and they were kind enough to hire us both. Wait. Are you the one who murdered the dude in the bear cave? Things have been wonderful. I can't tell you how much we appreciate what you've done. Huh. Well, it's kind of cool that you actually can see him again. And maybe even her, wherever she is. Ingrod. It's hard work, but good wages. Can't complain.
Good day to you.
Abelhart Skarian. The man is dressed in neat but functional clothes. His sun-wrinkled skin and limber musculature reflect a life spent in the wilderness. Well met. What brings you to the Charred Barrel? Is this your place? It's my retirement. He thumps the bar. Used to be a warehouse back when Brackenbury saw more ship traffic, but it fell out of use when the area became mostly residential. I inherited it from some great uncle who'd never had any luck pawning it off on my cousins. Huh. So it's been in the family then. Now it's the most popular spot in Brackenbury. The nobles come to unwind, and kith from other districts come to mingle. I'm surprised the nobles don't have a problem with that. He leans closer. We get a few rough types too, but they behave in here. Besides, their coin's as good as anyone else's. Alright, and who are you exactly? I was a cartographer for the Duke for decades. He rubs his neatly stubbled cheek. Crossed the White March half a dozen times and mapped most of the ruins of Thane Bog. Oh, wow. It's kind of cool, actually. A true adventurer. He grins, flashing a gold tooth. A good career, but one suited to younger men. When I came back to Defiance Bay for good, Clever and a few other friends in the Knights helped me get the rights to refurbish this place. There's strong ale, quality entertainment, and a fresh sea breeze. He raises a mug. What more could a man want? Fair enough. Show me your menu. The Duke's own beef loaf. What, is it like meatloaf then? That's what it sounds like. No one's quite sure how it became known as the Duke's Own, but two legends are widespread. The first involves Admeth Hadrit, the Durwood's first Duke, personally making beef loaf for his captive prisoner, Glanfathan Galvin Regd. The Orlan was supposedly so fond of the meal that he asked for the recipe and passed it on to his kin after his release. The second, more likely tale features an unscrupulous cook who worked for the venerable Black Hound Inn of Gilded Vale. She confided to myriad travelers that she had a recipe for the Duke's own beef loaf, simply her own delicious recipe, and sold it to dozens of people for outrageous prices. Each victim of the ruse went on to make their beef loaf with the Duke's own recipe, giving rise to the popular name. Yeah, I think I believe that second story. Sounds very likely. I already got camping supplies. Anyone back here? There's a basement. Please don't track dirt into my kitchen. Patrons here are particular. Fair enough. Actually, before we go down there, So say, you have an understudy. Is this for plays then? The scripts and props belong to a production of The Most Unfortunate Tale of Favia and Bernat. I'd love to see it. All right. Oh, a few pirates. Let's avoid dealing with them for the moment. Mort Dugest. Nope. And the same for you guys. Yeah. Ashtrays painted with colorful waves and whirls in the style of Ratai.
I'll see
I
it
could pick
done.
that.
It's finished.
There we go. All right. This pirate's gonna give us a hard time. Maybe not. The Baratheon scripture. And a bunch of gold, too. Behold, thou faithful, the visage of thy transformation. Fear not the journey when the portal opens. Become one with the wheel with glad heart and cheerful countenance. For the doorway shall open for all in their time. Neither the rich nor influential, neither kings nor rulers, neither the strong nor powerful can escape its embrace. Barath will usher thee through the doorway, and thou wilt return to life, thy immortal life begun anew. There goest the cycle, there goes life, there thou goest also. Thou shalt approach the door, the inevitable shall approach thee. Do not turn back on the portal, do not turn back on new life. Walk the path and welcome change or face the night. For he walks the road with thee and will guide all to their destination. Thou mortal, the skull thou wilt become. Thou closed off, the key thou shalt turn. Thou sealed, the threshold thou shalt cross. I imagine liches are not appreciated by Barath. One more save here. Merwith. Merwith watches you with kohl-rimmed eyes. She puts her hand on the hilt of her blade, jangling the jewels that hang from her wrist. We don't know each other, stranger, but best we keep it that way. Fair enough. What brings you to Charred Barrel? Merwith raises an eyebrow. What's it look like? Good wine and a little peace and quiet. She flips a copper coin with her thumb. And Skarian doesn't ask too many questions. You don't seem like a Brackenberry local. I'm a sailor. She gives you a half smile. Yes, technically accurate. And a liberator of certain goods. Also accurate. Merith casually fingers a large earring. And the nice thing about the snobs here is that they're usually too polite to ask more. And with that, I'll be going. I would hate to get on your bad side. Yeah, alright, downstairs. Oh, bandits. The proprietor has collected a respectable variety of bottles from around the world. From the, tart Adair reds to sweet summer wines of Rautai. Flasks of the infamous soul burn of the Deadfire archipelago are nestled next to crystal clear Nasitaki and Glamfellan with spirits. No names here. Just having a little chat with my associates. All right. Well, something tells me we might see you again.
Adair, you have said you fought in the Saints' War.
That he has?
But for which side?
The one that blew up my god.
Yeah.
I didn't mean anything by it. I imagine a man with a head made of fire and light could be very convincing.
Funny thing about Deerwoodens. With all that fire and light, they just treated him like another authority figure.
The god? Oh. It really is fascinating that Edir fought on the side opposite of his god. I feel like he's told us a little more about that at some point, but it feels like there's so much more to dive into. All right, we'll make our way down one place at a time. Checking off the quests. And we'll start with, of course, Raymont's home. Right? Yeah, Raymont Manor. Hopefully they're not in bed. I feel this is a little rude. The master and his guards don't take kindly to uninvited guests. I don't mean anything by it. I am, here to speak with him, though. Is that him? Lynette Raymont. Father never reads to me. He's always busy with his own books. Oh. This is just the, kitchen. Oh, there he is. Lord Raymont himself. Also looks like he's smoking a pipe.
Hail, traveler.
Lord Raymont holds a shipping manifest in his well-manicured hands. Despite his expensive clothes, he has the sallow complexion and restless air of a man who devotes all of his days and most of his nights to work. If you have business to discuss, make an appointment with my attendant. I don't have time for unexpected visitors. Oh, here you go. I'm just letting you know about a plot to rob you. He lowers his papers and looks at you for the first time. Is that so? Let me see that. He scans the parchment with the speed of an expert clerk. When he returns his attention to you, his tone is brisk and businesslike. You've done this house and the city a great service. I'm certain you will consider this an adequate reward for your labors. What, the experience? Ooh. That jewel is worth a lot more than 2,000 pans. Indeed, but notice of a plot does not carry quite the same value. Fair enough. Fair enough. Oh, he also gave us a ring of unshackling. The corners of his mouth curl into a wry smile. Still, far be it from me to sour a fruitful relationship. Lord Raymont produces another purse. Now, I trust that will be all. Oh, he did give. That's probably what the ring was for. The letter was signed A.D. Does that mean anything to you? I suspect it means Aberkin Dweminel, the scion of House Dweminel. A look of disgust crosses his face. A pandered lad, if ever there was one. Actually, maybe that extra 500 copper was for me saying that. No, I doubt that. It wouldn't have happened after I selected this option. He's ruthless, I'll give him that much. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the wits to match his appetites. Tell me about this House Dweminel. They were once an eminent and admired house. Now they're just a den of thieves. Back in the Deerwood's colonial days, the Dweminels were respected members of the ducal court, which is why it was so surprising that they remained loyal to Edir during Hadrit's rebellion. When Hadrit was the first of the first duke, right? Or at least the first independent duke. When Hadrit and the Deerwood won independence, yeah, the Dweminels lost their favor, but not their wealth. Rather than return to Edir and like other loyalist houses, they dug their heels in here and turned from politics to commerce. He shrugs. In one way of looking at it, they simply partnered with the wrong side. Not that they haven't prospered since in their own way. He rubs his jaw. Lately, they've been seeking to carve out a new niche for themselves, one right between the Crucible Knights and the Dozens, it seems. Seems like a dangerous place to be. Both seem like less than ideal organizations. What's so important about this gem? The heart of White March is a nearly flawless diamond. It's also the patrimony of the dwarves of White March. It was seized by an Adaran lord in the early days of colonization. The dwarves haven't forgotten it. Now, the Knights of the Dozens are both bidding for it to make a peace offering. The Knights and the Dozens are both bidding for it to make a peace offering to the dwarves. He shrugs. Whichever party buys it, the dwarves will make useful allies for Defiance Bay, especially these days. I swear I'm gonna have to choose sides one of these days. What'll you do now? Lord Raymond pinches crisp, sharp creases into the note. Eliminate the competition. Well, fair enough. I will see you another day, I am sure. Oh, and now Kana gets his level. Oh, Court of Spirits added. Quest expires in 2 days. Oh. Rewards 15% experience. Belt of Chimes. 150 to 300 copper treasures. Expires in 1 day, 25 hours, and lasts 1 turn. Shoot. Do I need to hire some people? I don't want a lawbreaker. Warden of the Wilds. Actually, what are all these? Prestige and security. Vanguard soldier. I like the sound of that. Sure. This means he has a contract. Alright, now can I? No. I wonder if I go back, I wonder if I can handle that myself. Also, was this ring of unshackling do? Grants suppress affliction twice per rest. Hostile effects suspended over 5 seconds. I mean, if I have a ring slot, it's not a bad thing to have on. Here, to you, Sagani. Don't have anything else going on there. So level up you, Kana. You're another one who's up there. Let's give you some stealth. Maybe athletics, more survival, perhaps. Yeah, we'll go with the athletics instead. All right, invocations. These are the full ones, right? Yeah, the chanter spells requires 4 phrases chanted. Oh, yeah, I don't think I had any first level invocations before. I mean, second level invocations. At the sound of his voice, the killers froze stiff. Paralyzed for 11 seconds. And a pretty good sized cone at that. Paralyzed is certainly better. Dexterity set to 0. Reflection and deflection. Or reflex and deflection reduced by 40. That is really good. But let's see what else we have. Gurnisk slew the beast, but soon faced its kin. Summons 3 worms, but with a U instead of a Y or an O. So I'm not really sure what those are. Presumably they are stronger than the skeletons, since this is second level. My son, do you see your sisters across the moor? Masses stray soul fragments to form 2 will-o-wisps that fight for the party. Oh, cool. Once again, probably stronger than the skellies. And the phantom. Renai Darrett's ghost spake, I'll catch you, Benfied. Causes enemies in the area effect to be terrified. Which is better than frightened, presumably. Yes. It's basically doubled frightened. Doubled the effect of frighten. And there's another cone. If I'm going to do a cone, I would rather, with debuff effects, I think I'd rather go for the sound of his voice, the killers froze stiff. Shatter their shackles, cast off their chains. Decreases the duration of and defends against hobbled, stuck, paralyzed, and petrified effects for allies in the area of effect. He loves his cones. But no. I prefer debuffs. The lover cried out to the beloved, I am yours. Stirs something deep inside enemies in the area of effect, charming them. Oh, jeez. What you're chanting there, a little creepy. It stirs something deep inside them. Not as big of a cone. But they are charmed for 11 seconds. Which, a cone, an area of effect charm is pretty nice. Granted, no bonus to accuracy. Though, it has just as much of a chance of hitting as the other ones. Rejoice, my comrades, 2 fingers of daylight. The chanter creates 2 bouncing beams of pure light that restore endurance and grant immunity to frightened and terrified on all allies struck by them. 44.4 meters bounces up to 3 times. I mean, the obvious choice is either the lover cried out at the sound of his voice, or maybe one of the 2 summons. I think I'm going to go for the paralyzation, though. And he doesn't have any more class abilities. If he's gonna keep using guns, I feel like I really should take Gunner. And I mean, I don't mind him keeping using his gun. Guns are fun. Yeah, let's go with Gunner. 20% reload speed, that's pretty nice. It's a good second or 2, probably, at least. Alright. Quickly, anything else in this house I want to see? Are we not allowed up here? Remote servant. The old serving woman regards you with bleary eyes. Begging your pardon, but I'm afraid I have to ask you to return downstairs. Visitors aren't permitted on the upper floor. Jeez, backhand her? Oh, jeez. No. That's just mean. I mean, sure, it's probably acting like a noble and be like, I'm not a visitor. What are you talking about? No. Go back downstairs. I assume that's where this gem is. All right, we would continue the Brackenberry,
How's
but...
the hand?
Turning purple.
Oh,
I
no.
have to cut it off.
What?
I warned you not to pet him.
Oh.
If I'm not supposed to pet him, why is he so soft?
See, Eddar's got a point there, Sigani. If you're not supposed to pet him, why is he so soft? In fact, I'm jealous. I want to pet him too. Itamak is absolutely adorable. But yeah, I know I said we would go down the way there, but I need to head back to Kednua to see if I can't do this quest.